my name is Crystal Gutierrez, and this is our English 23-26 class, English class.
Hello, I'm Marcus Lawton.
The two women stood for a minute, staring at each other in the golden light.
And how they wanted to see in the morning together. Sylvia cannot speak. She cannot tell the heroine's secret and gives lives away. Sylvia still watched the young man, loving admiration. The woman's heart asleep, and the child was very thrilled by the dream of love.
The old man of Sulphur Creek was correct, he thought. A man shouldn't travel alone in 50-degree weather.
The voice of the sea is seductive, never ceasing, whispering, clamoring, murmuring, inviting the soul to wander for a spell in an abyss of solitude, to lose itself in mazes of inward contemplation.
The theme that letting an evil deed manifest will always revisit the evildoer.
The thesis, a young girl to choose between life of a bird and her attraction for the young man.
The theme in To Build a Fire was a man traveling alone in the Yukon in 50 degrees below, and he soon faces the power of the unforgiving nature.
The theme for the awakening was sometimes being different and choosing solitude to gain your independence is not always accepted by society. This is why I chose my quote that I chose.
Today we will be discussing the historical background, social, and political things that were going on during that peak of the historical events. And we will also be discussing the interview, and y'all will also be looking at the dinner that's going to go on while we interview and meet up with the authors, as well as the little plays we chose for y'all to see.
Good morning, Jack. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Kate?
I'm good. How's your family?
I'm good. Actually, I'm not married to her anymore. I'm going not much time myself.
Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that. So, well, my kids, I've got 5 now, and I've married Oscar, and, Oscar passed away when I was just 32 years old. And yes, ma'am. And my mom asked me to come back to St. Louis, where I'm from, and after I got back there, my mom passed away, and so it made me very depressed. And yeah, so I went and consulted with my doctor, and they told me that I should seek into writing and for therapy for myself to help me release my stresses, yes, and my depression.
So is it helping you any?
It seems to be helping a lot, actually. I really like it. I like interacting my personal self with my characters and my story.
You know, it's funny you say that because I also write for therapy as well. A librarian actually persuaded me to write, to actually get out of the mindset of poverty, because, I was brought up in poverty.
Oh, I did not know that, Jack. All this time, I didn't know that about you. Yeah. So, yeah, I do, though. I'm very happy that I write, and I get to put myself into my characters, like my character, Edna, is, vacationing in the Grand Isles, where me and Oscar spent so much time, because it helps me reflect back on my own personal life, so.
Hi!
How are you doing?
How are y'all today?
Hi, I'm Kate.
Hey Kate, how are you? I'm Aiden.
I'm good.
Orton. How have y'all been doing since lovely evening?
Good. Can't complain.
I can't either.
So how's it been?
It's kind of hard out here. I actually been talking to my therapist, and he's just been telling me to write, just write. And I've been actually calming down on that, and I've been taking therapy as my writing. So, after, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just sitting here talking about that before you popped back.
Oh, really? So the doctor actually told you to do that as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, after my husband had turned out to be bisexual, it
Wow.
blew my mind. I just didn't know what to do.
Well, if y'all can excuse me, I need to go.
It was nice to meet you.
It was very nice to meet you as well.
You just kind of made her go away with that.
I did, I think I did. I always scare people off with that one. So, tell me, how has it been?
It's been one, you know, I write every day, and my goal is to write 3 pages a day, 1,000 words. And I didn't get to be the best paying job, best paying author, you know.
Oh, yes, I'm jealous of you. Deeply. So what are you working on?
To build a flyer right now.
And I haven't,
Actually, I just completed it.
did you?
Mhm.
I haven't looked at the critics. Tell me about it.
It's about a man who travels along and sub-zero temperatures, and I wanted, my focus of the book, I want to have people, young people especially, to have a partner when they travel, to not travel alone, because 2 heads is always better than 1.
Hey, Chad. How you doing?
How you doing?
You doing good? Oh, how you doing?
How things been inside?
I've been pretty good. Been working on a book. Lately, it's called The White Heron, A White Heron. What have you been up to?
Same thing, writing.
Um,
I was just telling her I just finished a book to build a fire.
huh.
Yeah, I was a little ticked off because Czar Donald just wrote a critic on me. He didn't actually was a Batman, and what not to read in naturalistic fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't too hard about that. But I want you to vision this, okay? Vision this. Oh, man. I guess the old timer at Sulphur Creek was correct. And one shouldn't travel alone. Well, I know what I'm gonna do to survive. If I'm all my options. Kid, try and kill this dog and warm up inside it.
I see it. I see it.
I like that. Nice.
You know what? Oh,
Well, I didn't really like her. He's like he didn't see the point, and I wasn't elaborate in the other thing. I felt like could you see it?
I actually did, and it's crazy how you speak about that because in an article entitled Roman Fever by Alexandra Werkson, actually said that I actually had a hot issue with the sexuality in my story as well, Roman Fever. And I kind of just meant it as like, how people really just look at it as in the diseases that was going on in the cold weather when the sun would go down. But others saw it as a hot sexual thing towards the nighttime.
Right.
But envision this, just envision this. So, why do you feel like that about towards everything?
Because I'm the one that wrote the letter all those years ago.
No. No.
It was truly me that wrote the letter to you. It was never him in the beginning.
No. So all this years, you're telling me I cherish the letter that he didn't even write.
Yes.
Can't be possible.
Oh, it's possible.
That's not it. And then I popped out of the dream. That was my character for the story. It was just like the evildoer, it came back because my character did an evil deed. But at the same time, you know, both of them.
So he wrote the letter the whole time? Oh,
My character was,
I like that mystery.
yeah, it's really mystery.
Oh, probably the improv. I want y'all to think about it. The critic, unknown critic was talking about. Actually, I could. All right.
That stupid cow, Daisy, where is she? I can't find this cow anywhere. Daisy! Daisy! What is that?
I've been hunting birds. I'm lost and I'm looking for a friend. Don't be afraid. Speak up. What's your name? Whether you think I could come spend the night at your house, then leave early in the morning, go gunning.
Well, I'm Sylvia. But I don't really know you, but I can take you to my grandma.
Okay.
So she went with him even though she didn't know him?
Yeah, it was kind of like this dude was hunting by himself and somewhere he didn't know he was at. He ran into a girl named Sylvia, and that he was wondering where he could stay at night, so he didn't want to be by himself at night. Might get attacked by wolves and then so the young girl took him to their house, and he kind of found out that the grandma was telling him that she knew the forest, the woods pretty good. He was looking for this certain bird for his collection. He was kind of a game hunter for different kind of birds. And he offered $10 to the girl to help him find it. But she left like real early in the morning, and she found the bird, and she came back and never told where the bird was at. She was protecting the bird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was just over there and I was hearing y'all talking about your stories that you're writing, and I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit about my story as well, if that's okay. I don't want to show you any little actions. I just want to tell you about it a little bit. That, you know, Kate uses Edna because, as I told you earlier, that, you know, my father died when I was really young, and so I was raised by my mother and my grandmother and, you know, the nuns of the church and stuff. So it made me become a strong, independent woman. So I try to reflect that into my stories. And I use Edna to portray this out because this is my life basically made over. And I send her and Leonce on vacation at the Grand Isles, and you know, Leonce is getting on to Edna for getting a sunburn, not putting her sleeves down and stuff, you know, because that's kind of how sort of it was for me, you know, in a little bit. But you know, Edna just needed that independence and to be stronger and earn that independence that I had in myself, you know. And so I just felt like Edna, the quote that I had given at the beginning of this was about her finding her solitude in the sea, because that's where she becomes independent, when she takes that first swim, and because she didn't know how to swim, you know, so she learns that the sea is seductive, it's inviting her in, and so, you know, that's kind of how the real world is, you know, and so she does find herself in solitude, and she ends up dying, you know, in the end by through the story, because society would not accept her being this independent woman, and her not being happy with being married and being told what to do and having the children. So, but I did forget to do our history, so I do not want to forget that. If that's okay, can I go back to that? Ms. Danielson?
No,
Okay, she's saying no. She's frowning at us because she can't say it. So I did bypass this, and I do apologize, but you know, the timeline that we were in is between the 1800s and 1920s or 30s. And, you know, in 1800, Blavatsky had actually written the 1812 overture back in 1812, but he presented it to Alexander II as a token for beating Napoleon, you know. And then in 1881 is when President James Garfield was shot, but he didn't die from the gunshot itself. He actually died from the doctor's fingers being in his wound, so he got an infection. And so Chester Arthur actually takes over for him. In 1881 also was the gunfight at the OK Corral. Everybody knows about the OK Corral, right? Does everybody know Tombstone? Because I hope so. Because everybody knows that. Huckleberry. And then in 1885 is when we received the Statue of Liberty from France. Okay. 1886, the White Heron was written. And in 1886 also Coca-Cola was made, and it's not the Coca-Cola you're drinking today. It was actually cocaine and caffeine. I mean, it was a totally different drink than what you have today. So in 1896, the gold mining in the Yukon was going on.
And I, Jack London, actually was there to find gold. And although I did not benefit in finding gold, I did benefit in experience.
Nice. In 1898 is when The Awakening by Kate Chopin was done, and To Build a Fire was in 1908. And the Titanic, and everybody knows the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, it sunk in 1912. And I'm wondering if the blue diamond is really at the bottom of the sea, because that would be really cool. And in 1914, we can thank our government for our first income tax, because if you made over $3,000, you were getting taxed in 1914. That's awesome. And in 1934 is when Roman fever was brought out. So I'm sorry I messed that up in order. I apologize, Ms. Brown.
So through all the historical events and the political events, the social events, and every background that went throughout the history, throughout naturalism and realism, there's still stories going on today about what's going on through the political, social, and religion events as well. And everything we went through just kind of closed up to be everything people experience through their moments. For example, my story, which is Roman Fever by Edith Wharton, she showed that she literally had two personalities in her stories, meaning the protagonist and the antagonist. People fought to say that both of the ladies were both protagonists, even though we had others that say one of them was the antagonist, the one that wrote the letter, and the other one wasn't, because she was just quiet and she knew how to be humble. But I also agree that they were both protagonists, and the reason I say that is because, you know, both of them are ladies. They were both in love with the same man, but the one that had him first had probably every right to do what she had to do because she was married. Other than that, she got what she deserved, because karma comes around, and that's just the way life goes. You get what you get. And with the other stories, also explain what the author was going through, and little parts of the stories will also show what they were also going through the peak of that history. And
Well, we hope that you guys take these stories, I mean, in all honesty, I probably would have never chosen my story to personally read without Miss Brown telling me to. But I actually truly enjoyed my story because it really does tie to women a lot. I mean, women may not realize it, but my particular story does tie to women, because you get married, you feel trapped. You're not really trapped, but you trap yourself mentally. And that's kind of what my character did. She had the kids. And so for me personally, I would suggest that you read what you can and take what you can from it, because it actually opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And I read her story as well, and it was a really good story too, as far as like just wow, the big slap in the face at the end that the woman that was sitting over here is the one that had his child all along. So it was kind of crazy, but any recommendations?
And I think, and to build a fire, I think that Jack London did a good job, basically letting people know that, look, don't travel alone, especially in sub-zero temperatures. You need to be better prepared, and two heads are better than one. And not even if that person actually help you, just having someone to actually talk to is beneficial, because you won't be insane, you know what I mean? So I think he did a marvelous job.
Dreamwork makes it teamwork.
Right.
Does anyone have any questions right there? Okay.
Thank you.
you.